Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money G. Yes, we're coming down to the final week of 2024. First of all, Merry Christmas Eve to all my subscribers, everyone out there in YouTube land. Yes, this is it. This is the final week of 2024. And of course, what I always like to do is discuss to you my top five worst and top 10 best horror films of the year. But for this year, I'm going to do a top 10 worst horror films of the year.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money. Yes, because in 2024 we had a lot of bad horror films that I actually had to include 10 films. Yes, they were 10 films this year because unfortunately for 2024, it started off real bad. We had two bad horror films that start up at the top at the beginning of the year. Luckily, it finally adjusted itself. We had some good horror films to come out this year, which I will discuss on my top 10 horror films. Now, of course, that video will not come out until after I see and review Nosferatu. Nosferatu will be coming out this Wednesday on Christmas Day. I already have my ticket purchased to see that on Saturday. So as soon as I have my review of Nosferatu up, and then I will do my top 10 best horror films of the year. But for now, this is my top 10 worst horror films of the year because I like to get the bad news out. So here we go. My top 10 worst horror films of the year. Now, before we actually begin the top 10, I actually have a couple of honorable or dishonorable mentions of films. Yeah, they were bad, but not bad enough to get on my top 10. So coming in, the first honorable mention will be The Crow 2024. Yes, The Crow 2024. Yes, this I don't know what they were thinking when they greenlit this film because this has been through I don't know how many directors. I don't know how many leading actors that were supposed to be in this film, and they put this. You would think that would give them an idea that I don't think we should make this film, but they finally got Bill Skarsgård to be the lead role as Eric Draven in this particular film. They got, I think her name is FKA Twigs as the actress to play Shelley. And unfortunately, if you're going to focus on Eric and Shelley's relationship, the the actors and actresses have great chemistry, and unfortunately, they have none. This was a terrible film. Like I said, Bill Skarsgård, great actor. He tries his best to give some type of decent performance to Eric, but he's hampered by a very terrible script. And I'm sorry for FKA Twigs. If you're a great singer, I never heard any of his songs. I think you're probably a good singer, but you can't act. There was no chemistry whatsoever, and the story felt kind of convoluted as well. It seemed like there was no real love interest. I mean, what made The Crow work in Brandon Lee's film was that even though she gets killed early on in the film, you can see his pain. You can feel his no his other distraught, the emotional effects that you actually feel for Eric in that particular film, but we don't get that here. So it's just a terrible film. Nice, decent third act of the film, but the whole film, the whole story just this does feel flat. So The Crow 2024 gets an honorable or dishonorable mention. My next dishonorable mention is a film I was looking forward to, and that's Salem's Lot 2024. Another one of the 2024. It's going to be a running thing on my list here. Was really looking forward to seeing this particular film because, as everyone knows, I'm a huge fan of the original Salem Lot with David Soul and the lead, as the lead. I thought it was a great interpretation of Stephen King's novel. Really did love it. But this film right here, I heard that they cut like a whole bunch of stuff out of it, so we don't get to see the characters' development. And that's what really the focus of the film. All we get here is that we get to see Ben get to Jerusalem or Salem's Lot. He meets up with Susan. The next thing you know, here comes Barlow and his minions. And all of a sudden, here come the vampires, and there's no character development. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the vampires, I like the look, I like the glowy eyes that they have, I like some of the vampire effects. I thought Ashley Woodford was very good in her role as Dr. Cody, but there's no character development. It's all of a sudden, we see Ben, we see Shelley, we get to see we get to see Jordan Peter Carson as Mike. I thought he was actually the best thing in the whole entire film. I mean, nothing against Lewis Pillman or Mackenzie Lee. I thought they were very good actors and actors. They're very good actors. Unfortunately, they're hampered by a script that does nothing for them. The prologue looked okay, and I like the drive-in scene. I thought it was a little bit different as far as the conclusion of the film, but without any character development, this is just a rush job. So once again, another dishonorable mention is Salem's Lot 2024. Very disappointed because I really wanted to like this film. And now let's get on with the top 10 worst horror films that came out this year. Starting with number 10, we have M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. Now, I really did love the premise of Trap. We have Josh Hartnett. He plays a dad that is taking his daughter Riley to a Lady Ribbon concert. But what we don't know is that this is actually a ploy because he is a serial killer. And the whole thing is a trap to trap him in there so they can arrest him. Very good premise. I thought it was pretty good. Josh Hartnett actually does give a good performance as Cooper, but unfortunately, this whole movie seems to be nothing more than a promotional tool for M. Night Shyamalan to give his daughter some press because she plays Lady Raven. She is Salika Knight. I'm pretty sure she is a pretty good singer. I'm hoping she has a successful career in her singing career, but unfortunately, she can't act because that's the whole problem with this film. It's nothing more than a promotional tool for him not showing to produce his daughter. And then we get to the main problem with the film is that it doesn't know how to end. We finally, when the trap is sprung, we like some of the cleverness that Cooper has to try to get out of the trap once he knows that he can't get out of it. But then every time we think the film is going to end, it doesn't end. Then we think the film is going to end, it doesn't end, and then we get this and that. It's just horrible, and it's sad, sad, very sad for M. Night Shyamalan. Looked like he was back with his last two films with The Visit and Split, and then came Old, and now this. Oh, God. So coming in at number 10 is Trap. Coming in at number 9, we have Mousetrap. No one should be surprised to see this on this list. Now, I really didn't have a problem when it was announced that Mickey Mouse's Steamboat Willie's character hit the public domain, and of course, filmmakers rushing to get horror versions of the Steamboat Willie character on the film, and this is one of the Mousetrap. Unfortunately, unlike with Winnie the Pooh and Winnie the Pooh 2, the Blood and Honey, this is just a terrible, I mean, terrible horror film. The actors and actresses, they can't. I mean, it's like you're not gonna get the great actors, and I expect that. I expect some type of effort, but there's no effort here. The reason why this guy dressed up in a Mickey Mouse mask is killing these people, there's no explanation as to why he's doing it. It just happens. They give a somewhat a good reason why they're there at this. I think they'll call it a Dave and Buster's video arcade amusement park that they have there, but that's it. The kills are not good at all. There's some okay practical effects, but the acting is terrible. I mean, you get about what happened in the third act, but again, I know, and I just hope that the other, because I think there's some other Steamboat Willie slasher film that are coming out with the Steamboat Willie, but this one was horrible. So coming in at number 9 is Mousetrap. So coming in at number 8 is Time Cut. Now, I'm pretty sure people who have seen this film were thinking about, wait a minute, didn't we see this type of film with Totally Killer with Kieran Sipka, from the Chilling Adventures of Brandon West? She starred in that particular film, had the same type of premise where she goes back in time and tries to prevent a serial killer from killing her mother. So we have the same concept here. Well, this time a person gets sent back in time in order to prevent a serial killer from killing her sister. Now, for those who don't know, and I don't want to, I said this in my review. Unfortunately, this film actually was filmed first, I think in 2021, but they couldn't get a distributor. So while this was sitting in the shelf, they went on ahead and filmed Totally Killer and got that released. So by the time this was sitting on the shelf, Totally Killer was made, filmed, and then released. So unfortunately, they have to wait and wait and wait until they finally got this release on Prime Video. And unfortunately, it's a terrible film. It's I don't think this film was meant for anyone in my generation or a slasher film. I think they put the slasher aspect in it, but I think they thought it was going to be for preteen girls because that's basically what this is. You know, they do a lot of preteen stuff. We barely see any kills. There's no lack of any blood. The dialogue is terrible. And oh god, it's like this. Even if this came out before Totally Killer, a lot of people would love to see Totally Killer before they see this one. So coming at number 8 is Time Cut. Coming in at number 7 is Megan Fox's Subservient. Now, a lot of people, including myself, thought that this was going to be the adult version of Megan, because you have Megan Fox. Obviously, they had a lot of play with Megan because they have the same name as Megan. They actually had Megan with the three on it, just like with a Megan film. Yeah, Megan Fox in here. She plays an AI robot supposed to be helping this family when the husband's wife gets sick. I think she had some type of cancer. They don't specify what it is. And we all thought this is going to be great because, she's going to overextend herself. But the whole film is nothing but two attractive people trying not to, trying not to have sex, but they do have one of sex. That's basically what the film is about. And then when we do get the aggressive AI, we get like ripoffs from Terminator 3 and other um, advanced robots ideas. If you want to see a female robot, I would rather than watch Ex Machina, not this very bland and uninteresting. And I feel sorry for Megan Fox because these were made by the same people that did her other film Till Death, and I thought that was pretty good. I thought she was very good in that particular role, and then come to find out this is the same people that made that film. What a backslide! So coming in at number 7 is Subservient. Coming in at number 6 is another AI horror film. This one is called Afraid. Now again, we got the AI thing. This one is like a more advanced version of Alexa. In this particular film, we have this family where this guy is played by John Joe. His name is Curtis. He decides that he's going to take home this new and advanced AI program called AI. Yeah, he's going to take it home, and everything seems to be fine at once. The kids enjoy it. The wife is a little bit suspect about it. She's played by Catherine Waterson, and again, another film that doesn't want to take advantage of being a horror film. It's dull. It's boring. There's no threat at all when AI decides to go rogue. Uh, Pure. I don't know what these people are thinking about. We get wasted performances by John Cho and Catherine Warnerson. Even David Maskakalan, I hope I pronounced his name wrong. He's wasted in this particular film, which is sad because he was great in Late Night with the Devil. For him to be associated with this particular film and the ending made no sense. Oh man, what a terrible film. That's why it is number 6 on my list. So coming in number 6 is Afraid. All right, now coming in at number 5, we have The Strangers Chapter 1. Now, after The Strangers, the second film, I think it was called, yeah, after The Strangers Pray at Night came out, we were waiting to see if they're going to be a third film. And then they decided to go back and let's see how The Strangers became The Strangers. And that's why we have The Strangers Chapter 1. It's supposed to be a first in a new trilogy, which actually supposed to bring the origins Sackface, Dollface, and Pinup Girl. It's supposed to be the origin of who these people are. But we don't get that here. What we get is a rehash of what we saw in the first film. There's no suspense in this at all. We're not even worried about what's going to happen to the couple. And I feel sorry for Madeline Patesh because she tries her best to at least make the film watchable, but she's hampered by a very poor script. It's like everything that happened in the first film, we see this happening in this one. There are some interesting moments that we get to see in the film when the strangers are invading the house, and she doesn't even see them. But we saw that again in the first film. But that's what really made The Strangers such a fascinating film, is to see how they are sneaking into the house where there's no way for them to get in. But it was just a terrible film. It was like, why are you making this fun? And unfortunately, there's two others that'll be coming out because, like I said, this is the first of a trilogy. Well, let's just hope that the second film makes up for this one. But coming in at number 5 is The Strangers Chapter 1. Now we're really getting up here because coming in at number 4, we have Taru. Oh boy, here we go again with these terrible uh, um horror movies. Now this time, interesting premise because we've never seen a horror movie that used tarot's cards as a subject of a horror film. So you get these group of young people, as always we do, get young people. They're sitting around at this house, and they get to play with tarot cards. Now, fortunately, there is rules that you're not supposed to use tarot cards uh, for the wrong purpose, and unfortunately, these tarot cards are cursed. And unfortunately, when they get their readings, the readings come true, but unfortunately in the wrong way. So that's what's going to happen. People start dying in some crazy ways, but unfortunately, they die in a typical PG-13 way, which of course we don't get to see any real decent kills. Movie mostly stays in the dark. We can't see shit. And then the third act is a bunch of bad CGI when we learn about why the tarot cards are cursed in the first place. And they even tried to go against their own rules because you would think that one of the characters is supposed to be died, but he doesn't. I guess they felt as though because the actor that plays him, he has a huge fan base, and he's part of another horror film called Reginald the Vampire. And a lot of people like him. I can't remember his name, but he's in this particular film. But if you saw the film, you know what I'm talking about. We thought that he perished, but then he comes back alive. It's like, wait a minute, that's not the rules you set in your own horror film. So coming in at number 4 is Tarot. Coming in at number 3, it is Imaginary. Yes, that's Chauncey the Bear. Yes. Again, interesting premise. Using imaginary friends that people had in their childhood as a figure of a horror film, and the main one is Chauncey. And we all thought this was a good premise of a horror film, but unfortunately, they decided to not to go too far. And I feel sorry for the Wanda Wise because she tries her best to make the film interesting. She's left to take care of her husband's two daughters, Taylor and Alice, and Alice gets caught up with Chauncey, the supposedly demon bear in this particular film. And I don't know what they were thinking about it. And poor Betty Buckley, she's wasted in this particular role right here because all she does is she stands around trying to be scared, and she has her exposition, and that's it for her. So I feel sorry for her, but a very poor attempt in trying to create a new horror icon with Chauncey the Bear. But coming in at number 3 is Imaginary. Coming in at number 2, it's Night Swim. Yes, we saw the trailers that came up with Night Swim, a very interesting premise because we never seen a horror movie where we have a haunted swimming pool. We have haunted houses, but not a haunted swimming pool. But again, nice premise, poor execution. Nice setup right here. You know, I like Wyatt Russell. I thought he's had a pretty good, interesting career. He's the son of Kurt Russell, and he's been in some decent movies right there. He, as a matter of fact, he was in the Marvel film, and he's also going to be in the Marvel film, the Thunderbolts. So and he was in a decent horror film. I think there was Overlord going to be in the Thunderbolts, and he was also on Monarch. So he's had some decent roles in this particular film, but this film was a terrible waste of time. He and actress Terry Condon, they play Ray and Eve Waller. He plays a very good baseball player who's unfortunately have a serious injury that he can't play anymore. They move into this new house, and unfortunately, the pool seems to be cursed, but that's not what the curse is. All of a sudden, he starts to feel a little bit better, but there's a dark side with this particular film. And again, it just something that goes to the motions. There's nothing real scary. There's no real threat in the particular film. There's some crappy practical effects when it comes to when the truth about the pool is revealed. That's a terrible way to start the year. So coming in at number 2 is Night Swim. And now, my number 1 worst horror film of 2024 is going to be, I don't know if you guessed it or not, but yes, it is The Exorcism. My, what is going on with Russell Crowe? Now, as much flack as The Pope's Exorcist got, I actually did enjoy that film. I actually thought that, I thought Ralph Ineson, who provides the voice of the demon, I thought he was great in the role. I loved the interaction he and Russell Crowe have with each other. I thought Russell Crowe was great in that particular film. Um, I thought Daniel Zavato, who plays the other father, Father Escobar, I thought he and Russell Crowe had some great chemistry together. I thought the whole film was decent. It was a way better than I expected it was going to be. It was way better than most of the possession exorcist films that we have seen prior to seeing the exorcism. And what a fallback. How bad this film was. Why would this film even made? It's terrible. It has a actually decent premise. Russell Crowe plays this washed up actor who gets a chance to come back by playing this priest in the Exorcist horror film. And the film, unfortunately, weird shit starts to happen, and then he starts to become possessed himself. We get the typical, weird movements, talking crazy. There's this one scene where he bends backwards that we've seen before that he can't possibly do, especially how Russell Crowe has gained some weight over the years. It's sad that now with this, and of course with Craven the Hunter, I won't even talk about that he has starred in 2 of the worst films so far in this year and in Craven the Hunter. So my number 1 worst horror film of the year is The Exorcism. I hope you didn't see it. So there you have it, horror fans. Those are my top 10 uh most those are my top 10 worst horror films of the year. It might be a little bit different than your list, but these are what I feel is all the worst films I've seen so far this year. What are your worst horror films you've seen so far this year? Please leave it in the comment section below. And that's it, horror fans. That's my video for today. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, and share. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. As I did before, after I see and review Nostradamus, I mean, not Nostradamus, Nosferatu, I'll have my top 10 best horror films of the year, hopefully up before the end of the year. I'm trying to get that up as soon as after I see and review Nosferatu. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button, ring that notification bell. That way, you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. Once again, I want to wish all my subscribers and fans a safe and happy Christmas. And I see you in my next video. I gotta stay safe out there.